Oops, wait. Sorry, Ken, I always check on you too.
You're live.
Thank you, Ken. I'm going to call to order the Franklin School Board meeting. This meeting is being conducted at the Franklin High School cafeteria. The date is March 21st, 2022. The Franklin School Board did have a non-public started at 5:39. So I'll call the public session to order at 6:17. Is there any motions to be brought forward before I start this meeting? Deb.
Could I make a motion to seal the non-public minutes indefinitely?
Okay, motion's been made by Deb to seal the non-public meeting minutes. Do I have a second? Second by Maureen. Do I have any discussion? Seeing no discussion for this evening, we will have to take a roll call vote. Christy Martin, our school board member, is on Zoom tonight. She is home sick with a sick child, so she is on Zoom this evening, so we need to take roll call votes on any decisions this evening.
Maureen Obey?
Yes.
Deb Brown?
Yes.
Delaney Carrier?
Yes.
Cecile Cormier?
Yes.
Paul Doucette?
Yes.
Tim Dowd?
Yes.
Christy Martin?
Yes.
David Testerman?
Yes.
Yeah, motion passes and the minutes of the non-public is sealed
Where
indefinitely.
are you and who are you with?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Christy,
I
you
get
need
to
to
that.
put who you are and just where you are if anybody's with you.
I am in my house and my daughter is here and she's sick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, one other item, I would like to make a motion that we extend the contract of our business administrator, Jefferson Brayman, for 2 years. He's currently under contract for the 22-23 school year. I am asking that his contract be extended additional 2 years for the 23-24 school year and 24-25 school year at 4% raises each of those years.
Second.
Second by Deb. Deb's already got a second, okay. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'll need a roll call vote on the motion.
Maureen Obey?
Yes.
Deb Brown?
Yes.
Delaney Carrier?
Yes.
Cecile Cormier?
Yes.
Paul Doucette?
Yes.
Tim Dowd?
Yes.
Christy Martin?
No.
David Testerman?
Yes.
That motion passes by a 7-1 vote. 6-1?
I'll try to
Laura's
remember.
not here.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7-1, as my count was. Okay, so it's a 7-1 vote, that motion passes. Jefferson's contract is extended for another 2 years. On behalf of the board, Jefferson, thank you very much for everything that you do for us. And we're extremely happy that you're gonna be with us for the next 3 years.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy working here. Wonderful group of people.
All right, if we now stand for the salute of the flag, please. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Colleen, was the meeting posted as is required?
It was, sir.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2 is our public participation. During our public participation, anybody who wishes to address the school board may do so. I ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes and that I give no more than 30 minutes for this public participation. If someone from the public is unable to address the board prior to the 30 minutes, I do hold a second public participation, which is agenda item 12. So I'll open up the first public participation at this time. Okay, seeing none, I will close that portion of my meeting. We'll now move on to agenda item 3, which is our recognitions. At this time, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Legallo.
Thank you, Chairman Dow. So our intent was to recognize the Franklin High School robotics team.
We have a video too.
You have a video to show?
I brought their awards.
All right, you want to speak to that, Principal Shred?
So our robotics team was away in Waterville, Maine, and they won the judges award. It is in the bottom of my principal's report, so there's their 2 trophies.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Here are their 2 trophies. And Lily made a video for us because she's also on my board report because she got accepted to a Yale summer program. So Ken, can you work the magic and play the?
Of course I can.
Okay. Because she knew she couldn't be here. She's at her LRCC class tonight. She's going to speak about the robotics, so she made us a video.
Okay, great.
Hello and good evening. My name is Lily Johnson. Hopefully by now most of you know this, as I've spoken to all of you a couple of times now. That has been on behalf of the Student Council tonight. That is not why I'm here. I have some other things to bring to your attention. I'm not able to attend this school board meeting because it conflicts with my LRCC nutrition class. I found that I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be an early college student because I think this is a great option for high achieving FHS students, mostly due to the class options because they're more varied and the career-specific choices that a community college has that a high school or even like the Hewitt Technical Center doesn't necessarily have as options. So now that I've done with my preamble and giving you an introduction to why I'm here, you may be wondering why I made this video if it's not on behalf of the Student Council, like what do I have to talk about? Well, a couple of weeks ago on the 10th of March, I received a program acceptance. I was accepted into the Yale Young Global Scholars Program, which is online due to the nature of the program. They don't want to have the conflicts of having a global program while we're still coming out of the COVID pandemic. I received a scholarship from CCSNH, also known as Campus Compact System of New Hampshire, which governs the community colleges like LRCC, which I'm attending. CCSNH covered the full $3,500 tuition cost of the Yale program. My topic for the Yale program is solving global challenges. The session is 12 days long and it starts once I get almost right out of school at the beginning of July. There will be seminars and lectures, and I will also be placed with a group of peers from the same topic as myself for a family time meeting that's mixed in with the schedule that I'm given ahead of time. Luckily, I'm very thankful for having the opportunity to, not only did I get accepted into the program, I also got my first choice topic pick, and I got both of my time frame desires too as well, which I think is fantastic because some kids get accepted, but because they were not necessarily like in the top, upper group, they didn't get their first choices in terms of topics and times. So I'm extremely excited for this program and the opportunity for it. I mean, growing up in Franklin, our community, sometimes these more selective programs can be more challenging to get into, so I've had that opportunity and it worked out. Some of the things I think I will be able to gain from this program are improving my networking skills and giving me some global and alumni connections for going on towards college, going on towards my career past college, etc. Just expanding my horizons, going past rural New Hampshire. So that's one piece. The other thing I want to touch on, other than my Yale program, is the 12th and 13th of March robotics meet that happened in Waterville, Maine. I was one of the small group of students that went there and represented for Franklin. My main role was safety captain within our group. I also interacted with the judges quite a bit. So for my safety piece, I spoke to other teams. Part of this was the night that we got there, and then the next morning and Saturday. And this was, the speaking with other teams was about our mental health campaign, help spread the word, hand out resources, and start conversations with some of the other teams so that we're making those networking connections. The other pieces I did, or the other main pieces, were talking with judges, keeping our pit clean, and helping some of the other team members with medication for headaches or bandages if they got a little cut and are bleeding or whatever, so safety stuff. And then, even though the robot had some struggles, the group as an overall did pretty well anyways. This was the only robotics meet I could attend, but I was very happy with the group's efforts, and I was happy they merited the judges award and that we were able to have that success even within our struggles with the robot. So I think it went quite well. And that's all I have to bring forth to all of you tonight, and I hope you're all doing well, and have a good night. Bye.
Very nice.
And next week, there's another meeting.
Well, congratulations to the robotics team.
Yes.
They continue to achieve awards, even though it's a very small team. I know Lita reached out to me and was excited with the news when they won the award. So they're a small team, but they're very well recognized and accomplished throughout the state. So congratulations to them again. All right, are there any other recognitions that anybody would like to bring forward this evening? Okay, seeing none, I will close that. We'll move on to our Franklin High School Student Representative Report, and we have a couple of students with us this evening. If you guys just want to come up here, just let us know what your names are.
Hello, my name is Andrew Gagnon, and I'm the treasurer for Student Council.
And I'm Hannah Croto, co-president of the Student Council. And before vacation, the Student Council put on the Winter Carnival event, and this is an annual tradition, but we had to make some adjustments because of the COVID protocols. We had a spirit week and after-school activities where students from each grade had the chance to compete against each other. Overall, the week was a success and was fun for the whole school, including some of the staff members. It helped bring a sense of normalcy by bringing the school together. And currently, the senior class is working on the end-of-the-year events such as prom and senior trip. The details are mostly finished, but we're just working on finalizing some of them. And the seniors who are planning on attending are looking forward to enjoying these traditional senior events. Thank you, that's all from me, and I'm open to any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you very much. Great
Thank
job.
you.
We'll move on to excuse me, agenda item 5, which is our approval of prior board minutes. We need approval for our February 21st, 2022 and our March 8th, 2022 meeting.
So move on vote.
So moved by Paul on both of those. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Deb. Are there any corrections that need to be made or any discussion? Yep, go ahead, Christy. Christy, you're on mute.
I can unmute.
Christy, you're muted. You're still muted.
Sorry. There you go.
How's that?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay. It says in the notes that Cecile had asked about the ESSER, how much we had left in the ESSER funds. I was actually the one that asked that question.
I need to know which minutes you're talking about.
Which minutes are you talking about? February 21st or March 8th?
February 21st.
And what page are you on?
What page?
Let me go back to it. Hold on. I gotta find it, hold on. Sorry about that. Report. That's not it. I guess I can't find it right now.
I'll catch up with you about it then.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead, Cecile.
On page 2, on the public participation.
Which meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry.
February 21st?
Yes, same one. The third line down regarding, her name is Christina Dixon
No.
with an A. And
Is it Dixon with an X? Or is it?
that's correct. That one is correct. Let's see. On page 6, the second, well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth line up from the last paragraph, after program, suggests that you put a period and then capital the. It's kind of confusing. And the second line to the bottom, we cannot affect. I don't understand what that means. There have been some systems glitches which we cannot affect but have made the state aware as they are found. What?
Oh, glitches in the state program.
So
In
maybe
the
we can, maybe
MSP.
we can just delete which we cannot affect and just put, but have made the state aware of it.
Have made the state. Yep.
On page 8, under buildings and grounds, the fourth line, I believe, not should be no heat, not heat. This is still not heat at the middle school gym.
This is on page 8. Oh, page 9.
No, page 8. And the buildings and
Oh, I'm
grounds.
sorry. Not.
Yep.
It should be no heat.
Yeah, no heat. And then, someone thanked Jerry for cleaning up the sand. I think it was Ken. I think we ought to add Jerry's last name. Because I don't know who Jerry is. I'm assuming it's him.
Jerry.
And let's see. And if you want to, as far as the committee's reports, the innovation I2 one, can I suggest that you maybe do it in bullet form? Because it's confusing a little bit.
Instead of doing blocks.
Yeah, instead of blocks. Like, and then in the middle of the paragraph, there's the next meeting date. I suggest just starting a new paragraph. And that's it for the 21st. On March 8th, page 2, under the budget work session, 1, 2, 3, the third sentence, the third paragraph, to explain, I misspelled local revenue, unless we're doing reviews with the billing. Or is that the right word you want to use, I guess? Mr. Byrne went to explain how local must be revenue, other than taxes are calculated. You
No,
find
it
it?
should say revenue.
And on page 3, the second block, the Laney carrier, I suggest that preschool should probably be without, I'm not agree, no
Without
capital.
capitals.
Yeah. I'm not a great English person, but that's all I have. Chrissy, did you find yours?
You're muted, it's because it's background noise.
Oh, that's right, you're gonna get back to her.
I'm just gonna get back to
Yeah.
it right over it.
Sorry.
I'm all done.
I found it.
You found it, Christie?
Yeah, it's on page 4 at the top. It says chair called for discussion. Cecile asked how much of the ESSER funds have been spent. I believe I asked that question. I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Go ahead, Maureen.
I just have a question. This would be pertaining to Delaney Carrier's committee. What is the correct term? Because on page 4 on March 8th, it has Delaney Carey stated that 12. So is there another term? Is it 12?
I2.
It's I2.
Oh my goodness, I2. Okay, I'm learning something every day. That's beautiful. Okay, perfect. I'm looking at it as 12.
So did I, so don't worry about it.
Pardon?
It's the Innovation and Improvement Committee.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any other discussion or corrections? Okay, seeing none, we'll need a roll call vote on the motion for the 2 school board prior minutes with the corrections.
Maureen O'Day,
Yes.
Deb Brown,
Yes.
Elaine Carrier,
Yes.
Cecile Cormier,
Yes.
Paul Doucette,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
Yes.
Christy Martin,
Yes.
David Testerman,
Yes.
The motion passes, the minutes are accepted. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 6, which is our presentation tonight for our elementary school reading and math assessment data. So Sue, if you just want to introduce your team to us before they start.
Sure, absolutely. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Paul Smith School's Title I team. They consist of Jen Weaver, who you have seen here before, as well as Wendy Baudet. New to our team this year is Mel Gross, who serves as a reading teacher as well as math support, and also Kate Rose, who is our math coach for teachers and mathematics intervention for students. We have come a long way in a little bit of time, and hopefully tonight you'll be able to hear just a little bit of the work that's being accomplished and why this year it will make a big difference in what you see in the future and how we'll be able to track our students' data. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you. First, Kate's going to go because she's going to talk about math.
I think you took Jen's intro, but we're
good.
okay.
Uh-oh.
I crossed it off. We'll stand back. Don't worry.
Where's the best place for me to stand? All right, fabulous. So I'm in a new position for math this year. After several years of not having an official math screener, this fall we started researching and talking to different districts and finding what other districts used around us. And we found that a lot of our districts around us use the program called AimsWeb Plus. So in December, we were able to receive a grant, and through this grant, we were able to purchase the program. And by January of this year, we were able to do our first benchmark test for this program. Some of the reasons we really enjoyed this program was the first way of how it was administered. For our K-1 students, it was a one-on-one interview, so we could see how our kids were thinking about their math, and they could talk about it and share with us their math thought processes. For 2nd and 3rd grade, it was done on a computer, which we really thought was important, especially preparing our students for the New Hampshire SAS test. Through these results, we were able to flag students who needed areas of improvement or RTI, and we were able to be able to provide them with additional resources. We look forward to giving this benchmark again in the spring, so we have some comparison data to see our students' growth. And we'll also be able to use this data for our students who attend summer school and even to give to our next year's teachers or students' next year's teachers so they can able to see their student as an overall mathematician. So Mel Gross is going to present the K-1 information.
In your packet, you should have something that looks like this. It's very pretty and colorful. We did that for you. You're welcome. If you take a peek at our kindergarten and our 1st grade data, you can see that our 1st grade looks a little red in our triangle. 59% of our 1st graders, we're about Tier 3 does not meet our expectations at this time. Tier 2 was 20% and Tier 1 was 21%. These are our learners that started school last year, going to kindergarten 2 days in person and 2 days on a computer. So they started at a tremendous disadvantage for us. So this data didn't surprise us, but it does look scary. Our kinder friends, though, if you slide over to that triangle, that's a much happier looking triangle. That's a normal, that's what we expect to see for our kinder friends at this time of the year. We had 39% were meeting or exceeding our expectations, which is pretty tremendous for us. 26 on that Tier 2 and 35 at that Tier 3. That is the class that you're going to want to keep your eyes on as we move forward. Those are the kids that are going to reap the benefit of all of the different interventions and programs we've put in place. Because although our second graders and our third graders have seen them, and so with our first graders, they haven't got the full effect. These kinder friends are going to get it. K1, 2, 3, because there's no more pandemics ever again. We promise. Signed, sealed, delivered. You're welcome. That's how that went. 2 and 3.
Our second grade looks a little bit different. If you want to turn to those triangles, second grade is a little scary. You have to remember who these students are. They are the ones who left kindergarten mid-year, where they're getting the bulk of their education. Then their first grade year was half online, half in person, and teaching math online is not easy. So their learning was very inconsistent. So as you can see, for second grade, over half of our students are Tier 3 for math, which is worrisome. We're hoping that number gets better in the spring after they've received some RTI, and we're excited to come back with that information in the spring. Our third grade students give us hope, especially since these are the ones who will be taking that New Hampshire SAS test this year. As a previous third grade teacher, this gives me some hope. One of the reasons I really loved this program for math was it was not a reading test. It read the questions to them, so it was purely math. They didn't have to do any reading to add to that understanding. Unlike the New Hampshire SAS, where the students are going to have to not only read, but do the math as well. So this gave us a good understanding of where our third grade students are. As you can see, our higher end is on the Tier 1, so that gives us some hope. And I'm excited to see what they do in the spring and how this correlates to that New Hampshire SAS test.
So then we turn to reading, and our first page under reading is all based on our Fontes and Pinnell, which is the benchmark assessment that goes with it. And if you first look at the kindergarten, first, second, third, and the tiers that they're in, it is substantial that's in the Tier 3. So when we saw this, we immediately started looking at, okay, we need to find out more information. This isn't the end-all be-all. We need to dive deeper into how the students are doing. There was substantial growth, and that's the part we need to see. Because again, like Mel and Kate said, the second graders left partway through kindergarten, had part of in-person first grade, which if any of you have ever been in a first grade classroom, you need a face-to-face. You need to see the teacher's mouth. You need to see and hear what's going on. So that was very hard to teach first grade that way, much less to learn it that way. So we're not surprised at all. But when we started going down, if you look at the second chart, that's where we looked at the growth. The kindergarten, which Wendy's going to talk about more, 3% of them have made the growth that we would expect for the whole year, which is 5 levels. 7% of our first graders, but a lot are right there on the cusp to making the 6-level growth. 44% of our second graders have made the growth we expect for the whole year, which is 3 levels. So we're only in March, and this was taken in February. So at February time, which is halfway through the year, they had made the growth that Fontes and Pinnell says this is what they should make in a given year. So we thought that was tremendous. 27% of our third graders had made it. So second grade's coming along. They're the class that I, near and dear to my heart, want to really follow. I want to see how their trajectory goes right up through the high school, because I think that they were the most impacted by all of this. As we're looking at who we're taking out of second grade. We see all in our department and special ed, between our two departments, we see all but 8 of the current second graders. So that's how many.
8 students, just 8 single.
8 of them did not
8%.
qualify for intervention.
Yeah.
8.
So when you kind of have to let that sink in. So, you know, between Rebecca's department with special ed and then us, it's all but 8 that we service in second grade. And we service many more between our two departments in the other grades. That being said, just to let you know, we service 121 students every day, 5 days a week. We have 36 groups. 12 of them are just math, and 24 of them are reading. So that's what we service in a day. So Wendy Kay is going to talk about the kindergarten, so you understand more about the growth they're making.
On the growth chart where it references 38% of the kindergarten had not made any growth of a reading level, that's what I'm referencing. We start to assess a student's actual reading level at level A. And that type of text is simple, predictive. The ducks can swim, the fish can swim, something like that. And even though this is a very easy beginning to reading, there are many skills that young children have to put together to begin to read at that level A. So as we look at that large percentage of kindergartners that have supposedly not made any growth on an actual reading level, they have in fact made a lot of growth in ways that are not measured by the benchmark. Some of our students come to us without any experience with books or any early literacy at all. Sometimes they don't know how to recognize or write their own names. If a student is starting at that point, it means they are beginning to learn all 26 letter names, then their letter sounds, and then they also need to begin to tackle phonological awareness elements like rhyming, blending, segmenting words, and then moving on to learning their very first sight words. As we work with the young students to get them ready to begin to read, students also work on becoming familiar with books, how to hold them, as well as learning what books and stories actually are. They are learning that stories and information can be found in books. We work a lot with building oral language and how that relates to print. It's a big step for students to realize how the sounds we make with our spoken language connect to our written language. And sometimes it seems like an exciting solution to a big, huge mystery that the words we say and hear are actually made out of letters that we see with our eyes. So often, the children make these important connections differently and on different time schedules. It takes a lot of patience, and our teachers do work diligently to take the students from where they are when we start and then build it up as we go. So we hope you'll understand that 38% is just a number and a reading level, but it does not indicate that there is not any learning going on.
If you look at the last chart, it looks like this. It is the kindergartners, and this was actually, as much as the green is tiny, this was a good aha moment for our kindergarten teachers when we met with them. We ended up as a team just taking the students who our teachers felt would not meet the benchmark level, which was B for this time, and we would try the Ames test out. So we haven't dove into it like math has, but we thought it's another piece, it's another data point. There was a percentage of them that came out green, and we could say to the teachers, they are ready. They're well on their way, and then all that yellow, they're right there. They're ready to move forward. So instead of that whole thing being red, which is what the teachers predicted, it wasn't. So those good data points, those aha moments, like, okay, Johnny is ready. He's really ready to move forward. So it's taking him to that next level. So again, that Ames data, trying it out. There is that reading piece we will dive into a little bit more. As a Title I team, what are we working on? What are we doing? We're a large team now. We went from just Wendy and I for a while to the 4 of us. We really work every day to provide a rich instruction for all of our students. And like I said, it's quite a few. It's a rotating, revolving door in our room. We also provide opportunities for our families. We work closely with Jefferson. I'm always asking him for some of our Title I funds, and Jewel is my helper for sure. In December, we had a reading challenge. I don't know if you were in some of the businesses that saw, we had a poster that was hanging. So we went out to the businesses and we asked them if we could, have some support, and they were more than willing, very excited, especially the one store where we did a little shopping.
Some Christmas shopping.
So that was hanging up. We all thought it was a nice way to tie our businesses, our downtown, to us as a school. We incorporated fun facts about Franklin, so that was on there. That was due to them because they are the locals of Franklin. I had to learn a little bit. We also had a winter challenge with reading and with math. So our whole department sent out a good challenge for the kids. The award for reading just went out. Jefferson ordered us really cute penguins. Thank you, Jefferson. We appreciate the penguins. Later this year, we're looking to incorporate the Franklin Falls Dam. I think it's a valuable place. That's one area that certainly got me through the pandemic, and encourage our families to go there. And we'll have some sort of a scavenger type hunt at that, and that will incorporate both math and reading. We have great news to share with you, hot off the press, because I checked my computer. The Cliff Grant, we are finalists in the Cliff Grant, so I wrote up what they've asked us for today. It's in Sue and Nicole's hands, so they're going to look it over and then we'll sign it, and fingers crossed we get awarded. It's $25,000 that we get to spend on storytellers, free books to put in the hands of the kids, authors we can have come to our school, and there is some PD in there as well. We will work hard to bring up these scores. We understand where they are. We reflect back when our own kids were this age, so absolutely that is a huge piece of what we do. We will also continue our data dives. These are meetings with our teachers. We've had two. We had one after each testing. One piece that was really great to hear is one of our houses took our data, they moved it all around just like that house did several years ago when Mel was on it, and they took an hour block of their day, and the students are walking to read. So they're going to a reading area that's based on their levels, based on the data we all collected as a group. So that was really good to hear. The other houses have a lot of sharing going on. During the data meeting, they had a lot of aha, like, oh, I have this, you have this. So more sharing, more co-teaching is happening in those houses. So that was really great to hear. I think when we have those meetings and the teachers can talk and share and look and explore their own data, that's what comes about it. So we'd like to just thank you for the opportunity to share with you what we are doing down at Paul Smith School. We don't get out of our little corner very often, so we don't really see what's going. Yeah, the kids keep coming to us, and occasionally we'll pop out and be like, whoa, she really does exist. We do. We had daylight. So again, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or no concerns? Because
we're on it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We see it too.
See you next year.
Are there any questions for anybody for the Title I team? We know, we get it. We know that COVID's been tough for the last couple of years. So, I've had the opportunity to actually step into your classroom and watch, so I know what goes on in your classroom. And I know you guys every day in that Title I classroom are giving 110%. So please let it know that the board realizes your struggles and your challenges, and we do appreciate what you're doing for our students.
Thank you. And thank you for doubling the size of our department.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Maureen.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you,
And we're back.
All right, we're going to make a change if there's no objections, because we got some students back here, and they've been waiting patiently. Under this new business, under the superintendent's report, there's a Franklin High School players lock-in. They just want to present to the board, so if there's no objection, then we'll let them go so we can get them out of here. All right, come on up, guys.
Thank you.
I'm Brianna LaFlamme. I am the president of FHS Players.
I'm Nick Gamble. I am vice president of FHS Players.
I'm Kaylee Sargent. I am secretary of FHS Players.
And I'm Zoe Nagel, the historian of the FHS Players.
So for you, we wanted to do a lock-in, and this would be at the Opera House. It gives all of us people that didn't get a chance to participate in the plays just an extra little fun thing before seniors graduate. I know I didn't participate in the last lock-in, and I wish to do so before I graduate. We have plenty of regulations, and we have specific lists of adults that are, as they say, participating in, what was it? Like watching us? Watching us? Chaperoning. Obviously, it would be an all-nighter. It would be also a fundraiser to help us gain some more funds for future plays.
Ooh, painting. We ate the set while you are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
they have all the paintings. I did give them, there's copies of their, there's a letter to the board, their permission form, the drug and alcohol contract that we signed because it's an overnight event, and their fundraising form. I did put that into the board packet.
Can you send the date of the lock-in?
Yep, it's supposed to be Friday, April 15th to Saturday, April 16th.
How many students do you think will participate?
I would estimate between 20 to 25 at most. That's about how many high school students we have currently involved, if they're all able to come. We also make sure that, because some kids want to participate, but if they have an all-day obligation on Saturday or they have to get up for a job, they are able to leave earlier, but they have to be picked up by an adult. And once they are picked up, they cannot come back. Otherwise, they stay right till 7 a.m. and then can leave the next morning. And then they do have rehearsal on Sunday. Just throwing that out there, too. I don't want them to forget that.
Is there any questions from any board members on this lock-in? Seeing none, I'm gonna make a motion that the board allows and accepts that the Franklin High School players are allowed to do their lock-in at the Franklin Opera House on Friday, April 15th to Saturday, April 16th.
Second.
Second by Cecile. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, if I can have a roll call vote, please.
Maureen Obey,
Yes.
Deb Brown,
Yes.
Delaney Carrier,
Yes.
Cecile Collier,
Yes.
Paul Doucette,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
Yes.
Christy Martin,
Yes.
David Testerman,
Yes. Motion passes, and you guys' lock-in is good.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you for bumping them up.
I know.
Wait.
They were at rehearsal last night here tonight, so. Okay, we'll go back to agenda item 7, which is our finance report, and I'll turn that over to Jefferson.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to read through the financial reports that were in the board folder. Since the last meeting, we have spent and uncovered 96% of the budget today. This leaves a balance of $774,294 of unobligated funds. This means we have expended and encumbered an additional $59,152 since the last board meeting. $4,282 is due to additional special education obligations, $4,464 for athletic expenses, $17,660 related to equipment repair encumbrance corrections, We've encumbered an additional $12,009 for homeless transportation, and we've recognized $17,439 for unemployment costs, with a balance of that increase in expenditures spread out over other functions. I do want to make note that the unemployment costs are offset by a premium holiday that we have also received from our insurance provider, Primex. So it's a wash. It's not an actual cash expense to us because of the risk pool process. When they have excess funds, they give us money back as a premium holiday, and the premium holiday is in excess of our actual costs for the unemployment. So we don't actually have to write them a check for that. Since the last meeting, we've also received an additional $145,950 of additional revenue. These are from athletic receipts for sporting events, indirect costs for the administration of our grants, other miscellaneous local revenue, and our food service revenue, which is the largest portion of that, about over $100,000 since the last board meeting. Through my calculations, the current fund balance is right around my projection that I anticipate to support next year's budget, so financially the numbers are holding steady at this point. Considering how much activity we had in the past month, I was actually kind of surprised to see that, but very happy to see that too. I also wanted to let everybody know that we had received an email from the New Hampshire Department of Education, Bureau of Federal Compliance, stating that after they've reviewed our final FY21 financial statements, which we have to upload to the federal government for our single audit requirements, they have determined that there's no issues of concern relative to the district's management or expenditure of NHDOE-related federal grant funds for the fiscal year of FY21. That is all I have for this evening.
David?
I didn't quite hear you. You said there was an expenditure of $12,000 for transportation. Was it, you say homeless or?
Homeless transportation, yes. It's students that have been identified that are either living in our district or in other districts that are attending our school but have to come from the other district. By federal law, you're required to split the expense with the district where either the residence of the child is at that current time.
Any other questions for Jefferson? All right. Thank you, Jefferson. Thank you for on that federal audit update. That's an outstanding thing. That's 2 audits right in a row, and there's been no discrepancies or issues. And so thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to agenda item 8, which is our committee reports. We'll start with Deb.
The Finance Committee met on March 14th and we reviewed all the expenditure reports that Jefferson just reviewed the particulars with you. We also talked about the Joint Finance Committee meeting that's going to be coming up on April 20th at 6 p.m. It'll be here in this building. We're not sure if it's here in the cafeteria or the SAU just yet, but that joint meeting will be coming soon. We talked about the use of the funds update for the ESSA grants, as well as the use of the school board salaries, which Dan will talk about a little bit in his report. And that's it for us.
Any questions for Deb? Colleen, you all set?
Next meeting.
I was just thinking that when you said that. Yeah, I think it's April 14th, but we'll verify.
Yep, April 14th. At 5:30.
5:30, April 14th.
April 14th at 5:30. All right, Delaney, you want to go next?
Yeah, we had an Innovation and Improvement Committee meeting on March 9th. We actually had a member of the public attend the meeting. He was also at our last school board meeting here, Michael Lombardo. He's currently working with Choose Franklin, and they're looking to expand their board to include a Franklin High School student. So that will be in the works. They're looking to start that around next December, I believe he said. We spent the remainder of the meeting discussing mid-year data from each of the schools. Sue shared information basically similar to what we just had a presentation of from her staff. Ken presented mid-year 8th grade competency data, and Carrie shared freshman on-track data from the end of the first semester. We also got information on truancy that was compiled by Barb Slayton. And surprise, surprise, truancy is a major factor in failing classes and is a very significant issue with our students at the high school. We tabled most of the rest of the agenda. Our next meeting will be April 11th, where the main agenda item will be reviewing the strategic plan core value 3, and we will also be reviewing the mid-year measurable data for the rest of the strategic plan. We did spend a few minutes on looking at the New Hampshire DOE iPlatform data tool. I highly recommend anybody with some spare time go on the DOE website and search the iPlatform and iExplore tool. Pretty interesting to explore how our district compares with other districts around the state in basically every aspect of data that the state collects from all the school districts. And a more detailed dive into that tool will be the main subject of our May meeting. And that's it for tonight.
The iPlatform is very good. I did a comparison of the the percentage of students that are special ed students in the various communities with similar economic profiles as Franklin. Franklin is higher, but it's well within the range of expectations for comparable demographics, social economic data, as compared to Newport, Claremont, Berlin, and Nashua.
Any other questions for Delaney? All right. I know we have a policy meeting next week, is that right, Cecile?
Yes, we do on the 30th at 6 o'clock.
So policy, we'll have an update on policy for next month, so we do have a policy meeting on the 30th, 6 o'clock. Are there any other committee reports? All right, before we go on, while we're in committee reports, I want to turn it over to Carissa to give her monthly update on a portrait of a graduate process and how things are going.
So I passed one out to everyone. We had to cancel our February site visit, so we offered a virtual experience. We had 7 people participate, and part of that is to create a change idea, and they'll present those next week to students to see if their project, if it requires funding, can go forward. We have increased media out to the community, and so any feedback you have about that, there were a couple posts that went out this weekend. We have a new newsletter coming out for parents. Facebook and Twitter are both very active in the last couple of weeks, so we welcome feedback from that. Community advisory, middle school aviation trip is being planned. I think there's 2 sets of students going.
There's 42 in one group and 43 in another, and they go this week.
Yep, so it's an aviation trip, which is kind of cool. We have career days coming, the middle school and high school. Middle school still needs some more presenters. High school is looking pretty good. This is an event that happens all the time at Franklin High School, or has happened quite a bit in the past, but some new additions this year. Kimball Jenkins, we're having someone come up and talk about the art world. New Hampshire Workday Play is coming, and New Hampshire Apprenticeship Program is coming as well, as others. And Paul Smith, Bonnie is on our team, Bonnie Gilbert, and she's trying to make something happen, and she's thinking about something with the garden or having a share day where folks come in from the community and share their talents with her kids or the kids in her house. This is important, May 11th, mark your calendars, from 4 to 6. The high school is going to be an exhibition, so we're going to showcase student work and adult work that was completed as part of the Portrait of a Franklin Graduate. And on April 6th and 7th, a small team is going to a convening in Boston where we're going to do connecting with other teams who are undergoing this process. And we're going to be talking about what next year might look like with folks from our foundation.
Any questions on portrait of
Showcasing their work.
It's May 11th.
It's a
I must have did a good job if there's no questions.
Nice job. As you know, I still continue to sit on the working team for Portrait of a Graduate as the representative for the school board, so I am at every one of the meetings that we have. I will be representing the board in Boston at the convening through the Bar Foundation, so I'll have a better insight on what some of the other teams and other schools are doing for Portrait of a Graduate. So we had an opportunity to have a meeting, FaceTime with, tell me with her name. Allie, who's part of this group for Portrait of a Graduate and everything. So we'll be well represented down there and have some good ideas. They have 2 full days, so I'm looking forward to it, especially as I told at the work team, the opportunity to see how some of the other schools are with Portrait of a Graduate and some of the ideas that they have. So we'll definitely have a good showing down there. All right, thank you, Chris, we appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 9, which is our new business. This is our update from our superintendent, so I will turn it over to Dan.
Thank you. So we'll start with a COVID update. So the last few weeks have been almost COVID-free in the Franklin School District. We actually did have 2 student cases reported late today. Both cases were, there was no infected period in the school, so there was no close contacts or anything. But for the last 2 weeks, those are the only cases that we've had. Things have slowed down to the point where a lot of the information that we're getting on the state site is either data suppressed or not available because the numbers are lower. So I wanted to discuss with the board tonight whether or not we should suspend our COVID metrics at this point.
Yeah, you could have suspended them a year ago.
My recommendation is that we do suspend them at this point. Not that we couldn't go back to them, God forbid we needed to. But I think that things are quiet enough at this point. The information that's out there is very helpful or useful. I haven't heard any complaints from any parent about not having any of this information sent to them on a daily basis. So I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that would be upset about us suspending the COVID metrics. So, but I'll leave that in the board's hand at this point.
I agree with you.
So I'll make a motion that we allow the superintendent to suspend the COVID metrics effective immediately.
Second.
Motion been made, second. Is there any further discussion? You see no further discussion, if I could have a roll call vote.
Maureen O'Day?
Yes.
Deb Brown?
Yes.
Danny Carrier?
Yes.
Cecile Cormier?
Yes.
Paul Doucette?
Yes.
Tim Dow?
Yes?
Christie Martin?
Yes.
David Testerman?
Yes.
That motion passes. The COVID metric is suspended presently.
Okay. In the board folder was our updated use of funds plan using the Department of Education template that was provided for us. Thank you to Jefferson and Jewel for helping put that together. As you probably could see if you took a look at it, it's not the most user-friendly template in the world. Very difficult to read, and quite honestly, I liked our original report better. Most of the information that's in this report is the same as what we have on our website at this point. But we were required by the Department of Ed to fill this out. I don't know if there's any questions or not. I don't think it's something I need you to approve because it's just us filling in the information you've already approved from our previous report. But I did want to share it with you at this point. And I think that's enough. That's a question. Oh, go ahead, Cecile.
It's item 6, addressing learning and community needs. Number 2, Is there a reason for 2021-22, it says select one, and you said no. I mean, what are they proposing? I guess is my
Need to
question.
know what page you're on?
Well, it's 6. Roman numeral, there's no
Roman
page
numeral
numbers. Roman numeral 6.
Roman numeral 6. Okay, and what number from Roman numeral 6?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Accounting reserve. I'm just, it says providing individualized instructions, and during, fiscal year 22, you did not select any.
Oh, we said no because we weren't using ESSER 3 monies this year.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't expended any of those funds.
Oh.
That's why we said no.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are there any other questions about the use of fund plan that was put into the school board drive?
Oh, yes, last page, instruction 7. It's regarding the HVAC system. I thought that was all completed, I thought that was done.
No, we're still in the planning phase of that. We're still working with our vendor from EEI. That will be coming back to you soon, Jackson. I think next month, right, April, will be coming to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a long-term project that we'll hopefully do within the next
And I
12 to 18 months.
misunderstood previously.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still in the planning phase.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? All right, you're all set then.
Okay, I have some resignations that I will need the board to accept tonight. First one is I'm asking the board to accept the resignation of Dale Mcguire, grade 4 through 6 middle school science teacher, effective March 26th.
I move to accept his resignation, effective March 26th.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by David. Any discussion? Okay, if I could have a roll call vote on that, please?
Maureen O'Day,
Yes.
Deb Brown,
Yes.
Delaney Carrier,
Yes.
Cecile Cormier,
Yes.
Paul Doucette,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
Yes.
Christie Martin,
Yes.
David Testerman.
Yes.
Okay, and I have 3 resignations effective June 30th. Carrie Charette, principal of Franklin High School, Matt Berger, middle school teacher, and Don Belanger, middle school special education teacher.
I move that we accept those 3 nominations for our resignation.
Okay, motion's been made to accept the 3 resignations. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Maureen, or Cecile, okay. Cecile, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, if I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Maureen O'Day,
Yes.
Deb Brown,
Yes.
Delaney Carrier,
Yes.
Cecile Cormier,
Yes.
Paul Doucette,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
Yes.
Christie Martin,
Yes.
David Testerman.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to nominate our professional staff and administrative staff nominations that we previously discussed and need the board to approve.
I move that we approve the nominations previously discussed.
I second.
Okay, motion been made to nominate the staff that was presented earlier by Superintendent Legallo, by Paul, that was seconded by Maureen. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion, I'll need a roll call vote, please.
Maureen O'Day,
Yes.
Deb Brown,
Yes.
Delaney Carrier,
Yes.
Cecile Cormier,
Yes.
Paul Doucette,
Yes.
Tim Dow,
Yes.
Christie Martin,
Yes.
David Testerman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, school board salaries 21-22. This is on the agenda because the salaries for the school board members are still in the budget for the 21-22 school year. There's a history of the school board donating the salaries to different causes, so I'm going to turn it over to Tim to talk to the board about possibilities.
So, Franklin Charter states that school board members, as is with city council, are entitled to a $300 salary. Okay? We encumber that every year, and it's the decision of the board or board members, whether you want to take your salary or you want to give it back to the district. It's been in the last 8 years where the boards have given their salaries back to the district. What happens is it goes into the general fund to help offset any costs that may be coming about. One of the costs that is coming down the road, and that we spoke about, is 2 new ovens for the home economics, okay? The salaries with this would cover those costs for those stoves, okay? But normally what happens is if you vote on it and it passes, it normally just goes into the general fund, and in this sense, speaking to Jefferson, he would just use our salaries to help or pay for the cost for the home economics ovens, okay? But before I make the motion, because you are entitled to it, if anybody wants their salary, then you can tell me now, and this, you have the right to it. It's within our budget. So if anybody wants the salary, just tell me now.
How many thousands do we get paid?
Yeah, good luck, Paul. All right, so I don't see anybody, so I'm gonna make the motion that our school board salaries for the 2021-2022 school year at a total of $300 per board member be returned back to the school district and placed into the general fund to help purchase 2 ovens for the home economics classroom.
Second.
Second by Paul. All right, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, if I could have a roll call vote, please.
Maureen O'Hare?
Yes.
Deb Brown?
Yes.
Delaney Carrier?
Yes.
Cecile Cormier?
Yes.
Paul Doucette?
Yes.
Tim Dow?
Yes.
Christie Martin?
Yes.
David Testerman?
Yes. Okay, a motion passes and our school board salaries will be purchased as was stated in the motion.
Okay, and then I am looking for 2 committee members for a high school principal search committee. I've heard from Tim and Maureen that they're interested. So unless there's other people interested, I'm going to go with Tim and Maureen to be on the high school search committee. That position has been posted. It'll be posted probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll be bringing that committee together to start their work. Quick update, the elementary school interviews are tomorrow and Wednesday. So we'll be moving on that, and I'll keep you posted on that process as well. And that's all I have today.
Are there any questions for Superintendent Legallo? Ken's going to get that before it shuts down. Thank you, Ken. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 10. These are our administrative reports, and we'll start with our curriculum report with Jewel. Jewel needs to be on camera. She waiting for this.
Yeah, my moment.
Thank you for the reminder. I got you, Mrs. Finley.
As always, everything was in my report. It has the updated communication data. I don't have the next round of curriculum or mentoring meetings until May. I did put an article on the middle school website and the SAU website on the partnership with the Makerspace group and the work that some of the kids did at the middle school. The projects that Jim shared with Dan and I were amazing, and the feedback that we've gotten from the experience that the kids have had was wonderful as well. So there is an article on that. The list of all the upcoming professional development, both free things that I find and inundate the staff with, I know, and then also a few things that Jefferson and I have put into the grants to help support some of the needs that the staff had are all listed there. And then I had minutes from the Lakes Region CIA meeting that I went to. It was very interesting this time around because everybody in the area is starting to talk about their mentor programs and mentor plans. So I'm hoping that when we sit down to reevaluate our mentor plan this year, I'll have some new and interesting feedback to provide. And outside of that, I can take questions. I did want to point out, and I almost did it when the kids were still here, because it's happening before the next board meeting, but that group of students, along with a few others, are attending this year's NHETG Festival, which is the New Hampshire Educational Theater Guild.
They haven't gone in 2 years because of COVID. And historically, Franklin, being one of the smaller schools compared to other schools that compete, actually fares really well. They will be representing Franklin on April 2nd at Kingswood Regional. So we'll let you know how that turns out after we return. I think that is about it, unless there are questions.
Any questions for Jewel?
School of Rockville and Jewel.
I think it is fantastic, and I have such great new cast members, I can hardly stand it.
And extremely talented, too.
Absolutely. No, it's going really, really well. It's a lot of people, so it takes a lot of patience, but we're getting through. It's going to be fantastic. Get your tickets now.
Personally, watching Jewel do this is amazing because I stepped way, way outside my comfort zone to take on a role for
I
this.
actually put them on stage last night.
She actually put us on stage last night, so it is it's very much of some interest. But to watch Jewel work with the kids and the adults and the different scenes and trying to keep these schedules in line, and if you don't know, a presentation like this takes about 2.5 months of preparation and rehearsals, and it's 2 to 3 days a week that we have rehearsals. You know, and I always attended every district-wide show and whatnot, you know, and I'd see the final performance, but to watch and be part of this, of the process of doing this, and just seeing the students, it's amazing. It really is amazing to watch. When they get up there and they were singing one of their songs, if you go to the show, you'll see it's called "Stick It to the Man." And if you know the movie School of Rock, but to watch these kids after probably what 2 or 3 times.
They had an hour rehearsal on Saturday, and that was what they did.
And they did it for us last night, and it's just amazing. So I mean, if you do have the opportunity, tickets are on sale. It's been a lot of fun for me. It's been a very much of a learning experience for me because I never did any drama or acting.
Just keep in mind, we just started, so you have a long
I still have
way to
a
go.
long way to go for this, but I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's been fun, but Jewel does a phenomenal job with it. So if you have the opportunity.
How much are the tickets?
I honestly,
$16.
I think they're 14 and 16.
And I know I ran into Councilor Bunker over the weekend. She's like, oh, she can't wait to get there. She's going to be there with bells on, she said. But no, Jewel does, to see it firsthand. And like I said, we're only three in, I've been to, and still a long way to go. But it's a fun thing. So, all right, thank you, Jewel.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll go to our special education report with Rebecca.
Good evening, everyone. So, a quick run of the numbers. Right now, we're at 295. There has been a steady increase of about 5 per month since September, and that was 280. January 285, February 290. Now we're at 295. So, I do want to stress that referrals district-wide overall are down. So the numbers increasing, I think, are just the severity of need when we do evaluate, and we have had kids move into district as well. Right now we have 7 referral meetings scheduled through March 31st, and I know we have about 5 kids in the evaluation process. As part of your board packet, you received a breakdown of numbers based on disability category. What I do want to stress for you is these numbers indicate primary disability only. Many kids can have 1, 2, or even 3 disability categories. Again, this one represents just the primary, with specific learning disability being the highest disability category for which we find kids eligible in district. Again, a student with a specific learning disability may also have another health impairment or a speech-language impairment. So any numbers on that graph or anything I can answer for you about that?
What is the specific learning disability? What is one of the areas that is in that category?
We see a lot of do you mean like what's driving that?
Yeah.
A lot of low, long-term retrieval, short-term working memory, and then Our verbal knowledge can be low, and also visual spatial skills. Those are the areas that we see driving our decision-making when we deliberate specific learning disability. And when we do deliberate specific learning disability, we look at academic scores against their cognitive scores and current level of functioning in the classroom. So we have to see that there's a deficit in the cognitive process that's impacting academics. So it's looking at a lot of different scores and numbers. I find these meetings a lot of fun because it's a profile. So you look at the profile, you look at how they function, and you look at the scores to determine if there is a specific learning disability. Any other questions?
You have developmentally delayed. Is that due to, being socially immature or being born late? In other words, a September, November baby? Or is it more delayed because of environment?
So it can be any number of things, any of those. This disability category is only for students up to age 10. So by the time they turn 10, you have to have a new disability category in place. And what you're looking at is, it looks at more motor development, language development. We do look at cognitive, but because these kids are often younger, so they're in that, preschool age even, kinder, first grade, we look at mostly phonological processing to determine cognitive functioning. We do look at behavior if we have that need, so those are the categories that fall into that. And what they really want to see is that they're 1 to 2 standard deviations below the mean to qualify for that. So it's kind of a global, it implies that there are some global concerns typically. So you'll see speech, OT on the IEPs for a lot of these kiddos. You might see physical therapy. Every IEP has some sort of academic goal on it. That's really the driving force, is the impact on academics. So, you're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Rebecca?
All right, and then a quick MSB update. Every time we think we've closed a door, another one opens. So right now we've learned that we have to submit waivers so we can allow, so that RBTs, BCBAs, and ABAs, our behavior support teams, can actually bill for Medicaid. So we've submitted all the paperwork, and we're waiting to get it approved. The ABAs can't bill as of yet. That's another waiver we'll have to do after. My concern is that the Medicaid rules that continue to change will continue to affect school-based reimbursement. But I would say Ms. Carr, the administrative assistant for special education, has been amazing about really tackling MSB, meeting with our rep regularly, and following up diligently.
Can you help our YouTube people with some of the acronyms?
Oh, okay, yeah, and they
Please.
are in the report, but board certified behavior analyst is a BCBA. They are the higher overarching personnel in terms of that support. The ABAs, applied behavior analysts, work underneath the BCBAs. And then the RBTs, the registered behavior technicians, work with the kids under the ABA. So
Thank
it's
you.
a little bit of
Thanks, Rebecca.
that. You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to move on now to our Paul Smith School Principal Report with Sue Blair, and then we'll go right from her to Nicole for her system. We'll start with Sue first.
So we thought we'd start with something fun.
Oh, great. I love it.
So last
Okay.
month, I mentioned in my board report that Tim Hazelton had been working with some fellow musicians to record our Paul Smith School song. So we thought we'd share it with you tonight, and Nicole has it on her phone, and we're hoping that you'll be able to hear it. Ken, I'm hoping it'll pick up on your recording.
It should be loud enough.
Go ahead, give it a shot. I can turn up the mic.
Okay, bring it closer. But it's on Spotify, Apple Music.
That's all I got.
We're here with our friends and we follow the rules. We have the best teachers and students too. Here at Paul
out again, but they are on our website and our Facebook page as well. But it's fun because all of our students, every student knows the song, and our 3rd grade ukulele club knows how to play it as well, which is a lot of fun.
And Nicole's boyfriend even knows it now. That's pretty amazing.
If you Google Paul Smith school song, it comes right up. Okay.
So I just wanted to take a minute to reiterate some of the data that my Title I team mentioned in their report. And I wanted to just give a quick overview of what literacy intervention consists of. So literacy intervention, our LLI, is a program that's been developed by Fontes and Pinnell. Fontes and Pinnell have been in reading research for a very long time, and when I say that, well over 25 years. And again, they have moved from what some of us might have known as reading recovery, which was really developed for our youngest learners, and then they developed LLI, and now, as all of you know, because you have supported the purchase of Fontes and Pinnell Classroom, which actually now goes all the way up through high school. So their reading level gradient will take children all the way up, or students all the way up through high school. It is a systematic, explicit instructional program with a focus on vocabulary and building comprehension. It is done in small groups, and I'm not sure that I heard the ladies say this this evening. Small groups, the recommendation is no larger than 4 children in a group. So I want to reiterate what they said. They see 121 children a day. They see 36 groups in total, with 12 of them being in mathematics and 24 of them being in reading. We could actually service more children if we had more room and more Title I staff, because there are other children that qualify. One of the conversations Mr. Legallo and I have had is about supporting kindergarten next year, because there are kindergartners, as you can see in our data, that could really use the support of, it's called Tier 2 instruction. So response to instruction, we have Tier 1, which is your regular ed kids that just come in and they learn at what's considered an expected rate, and they move along without any additional services. Then there's your Tier 2 kids who are scoring below the expected rate, but really not falling off too far. And then you have your Tier 3 kids who eventually, as Rebecca spoke about, will qualify for intervention in the special ed world. Our hopes are that through our Tier 2 interventions, we will be able to support kids so that they don't fall too far behind where they should be, the expected rate of growth. What's really fascinating, and I'd like to just reemphasize this for the board, is to pay attention to the levels of growth that are happening. So we all talk about COVID, and boy, I know that everyone that works in education is talking about COVID, but what you look at is what are the levels of growth that kids are making, particularly with Fontes and Pinnell. And Jen did a great job of saying, you know, in first grade, we expect kids from September to June to have made 6 levels of growth. They're little books. Someday I'll bring the books so that you can see them. So if they've made 3 by now, they're making the expected growth that we would expect in first grade. In third grade, by the time you get to third grade, it's 3 books. So if they move through, 3 levels. So if they move through 1.5 levels, you know they're on that expected projectile, if you will, for where they should be at the end of the year. Some of these kids are making marked growth, and the reason for that is because they are being daily exposed to new, different literature that is written for their grade level or their developmental level, and they're feeling success. So they're building their confidence in their self-esteem. So as my Title I staff reports back to you next year, or at the end of this year, we're gonna use that same charting for you so that you can see the growth that they've made over the year and how many levels they've made, and then compare it to where they're performing, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. So just again, 121 children a day in and out of one classroom. It's one of our bigger classrooms, but nonetheless, 121 kids a day go through that. I also just want to emphasize, starting tomorrow, Paul Smith School is going to be offering tutoring to a small group of students. We've identified, right now we're targeting our 2nd and 3rd graders. 2nd grade, I think you understand why. There's a true need there, but 3rd graders, because they will be moving on to our middle school. So beginning tomorrow, I'd like to recognize Allie Reardon, Kate Susi, Kelly Nealon, Catherine Lehman, and Mackenzie Nixon, as they are our tutors who will be tutoring kids from 2:15 to 3:15 twice a week till we decide that the kids can't take it anymore, in both reading and math to, again, help them make that growth. And we're using the same program, so we'll be using the same language, the same strategies to support some of our struggling learners. So I wanted to bring that up. Lot of dates coming up for the end of the year. We're looking forward to having parent orientation for new kindergartners for next year. Right now, we're at about 40 names for kindergarten for next year. And also, we're going to work on also having some type of kindergarten visit. I need to talk to Dan about when that might occur and what it might look like for our kids for next year. But I think it's really important that we have an opportunity to play with and work with and get to know our families and our kids before they start on the first day of school. And I think, unless the board or any members of the board have any questions, that is my report for this evening.
Sure. Okay, so during the month of March, we've had 12 minor reported behaviors, including disrespect, class disruption, and noncompliance. There were 11 reported major behaviors, including physical contact, stealing, and excessive noncompliance. These behaviors resulted in parent contact, time away from the classroom, use of our student support room, and students being sent home. We are continuing to recognize our students who are caught doing good. We have more than 60 shamrocks that decorated our hallway bulletin boards, celebrating students who have been caught doing good. And we are so excited to announce that we are going to start doing whole school assembly again. We did them outside in the fall. It's been too cold and snowy, and as the warmer weather has come around, we're really excited that on April 1st, we are going to get to recognize students as a whole school together for children who have been caught doing good.
Outside.
Outside, yes, outside.
Are there any questions for either Sue or the clerk? Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our middle school reports. We'll start with Principal Darsney, go right from there to Jay.
Thank you very much. Interesting statistics, and as I give you enrollment statistics every month, but something happened that's never happened in all the time I've done these statistics. Our unenrolled population went down. Which one would say, how did you do that? Well, I couldn't figure it out until I did some digging. We had 4 students, homeschooled students, return to school in the last 2 months. So, interestingly enough, those are kids who were unenrolled from our school that are re-enrolled. So they reduced the number of our unenrolled population. So that's an interesting statistic to deal with, and I was really pleased to see that it happened. The rest of it is all pretty self-explanatory. Things are happening. The second trimester is ending, so therefore grades will close on the 25th. They were supposed to close on the 24th, but we gave them an extra day because of snow. And we'll be sending out, continuing to email our reports on trimester 2 academics in terms of 2 and 3 allied arts, and they'll go on allied on April 1st. These students have received progress reports, so there will be no surprises for the most part. Hopefully there'll be some good news that folks have improved. I'm not lazy, but I took the time to ask my staff to send me information on what they're doing in the classrooms, and I got, and in and outside the classroom. As you can see from my report, I got some great information. Our counselors are putting together a career fair. I'll give you the short version. It was Pi Day on 3/14, on March 14th, so we get some excitement about that. Mrs. Martino's working on some fundraising from Horace Mann and Donors Choose, talking about her ELA and math work in her classes. Mr. Harrison is talking about some ancient Greek work in his social studies class, and he and I have to recognize he and Mr. Perkins did a great job with the Ski and Snowboard Club this year, right down to the part where they got themselves licensed to drive the district's van so they could take the kids skiing in the van, because we had a small group. Kelly Neal's done an amazing job partnering with Jay Chandler and Portrait of the Graduate. Thank you very much, to get our kids to the Manchester Airport at the end of March. It'll be our first field trip in 2.5 years. So we're very excited about that opportunity to send our kids down. Miss Biller sent us some stuff about what she's doing in Nevertheless Persisted. And this just in. I could not say something because still kept stuff coming in. Mrs. Mcguire at 405 Science is working on earth spheres. In 6 Science, she's working about organism structures, earthquake building systems. She sent that along. FYI talked about April being Alcohol Awareness Month, and the Alcohol Awareness Poster Contest is coming in. Last but not least, Mrs. Davis promised to send me information on her Egypt project, which was an amazing success, and we'll have that for you next month. So thank you for that opportunity.
The enrollment increases, it's throughout the school systems in the Northeast. The ones that I follow, per my demographic work, they're also seeing the COVID bump of the last coming back from homeschooling.
Thank you for that information. I think it's because we're amazing, but you're entitled to view it your own way.
We'll tell after June 30th.
Mr. Traft. Thanks.
All right, good evening. We are continuing to kind of fight the good fight and try to remind these students how citizenship and being nice is not so bad. So at this point, for the last month, we've had 43 major events. 7, disrespect, profanity, physical contact seem to still be leading the way for us. Of those, we had 16 instances that ended up with ISS, totaling 26 days of in-school suspension. We had 3 instances of OSS, giving us 9 days of out-of-school suspension. On top of that, some of the stuff, still working with diversion in Merrimack County to make sure we get some other resources in there to divert some of these bigger problems. Quick report tonight.
Questions for either Ken or Jay?
These items that your teachers are doing, these special things like Pi Day, is that going to the Facebook or to Judy or somewhere that this information is out there into the community?
We get as much out to the community as we possibly can, yes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we take pictures and put them on our Facebook and also on the website, so yes.
Thank you.
Oh.
On down to our high school reports. We'll start out with Carrie first and go from Carrie right to Sarah.
So the board has my packet, and there's a lot of good news and good happenings at Franklin High School to report on. But we just finished our underclassmen course registration, and we'll be working on going over to the middle school to meet the incoming 8th graders and work with them to pick their classes for next year as well. We had a nice video from Lily with her Global Scholars Program for Yale. She was actually accepted into another program, and I brought that to the board. So she'll be stepping down from the other program to do the Yale piece. And we had our robotics team as well. So I just wanted to note for people that are watching at home and for the rest of the members here that we had 5 young ladies who were awarded the New Hampshire Affiliate NCWIT Award for Aspirations in Computing. The Rising Star Award is what it's called. So The award is powered by the National Center for Women in Information Technology, which recognizes 9th to 12th grade students. So our recipients are Megan Donahue, Laura Colprit, Alexis Mango, Abby Pittman, and Lily Bunk, who all took computer science classes this year, and some of them took more than one. They're listed for the board, but that's our new computer science program. So there were 29 students recognized for the state of New Hampshire, and 5 of them were from Franklin High School. I just want to say congratulations to Miss Marcotte. She's actually listed twice in the board report. Not only was she selected as the chief reader for the AP Computer Science test, so she'll be going and participating in that for some additional professional development, but she was also recognized from the NC WIT program for the Educator Award for Honorable Mention. She has actually won this award in the past, and you can only win it once, but with that comes some additional professional development for her. And last but not least, for recognitions, I just want to talk about our school counselors, because the Appreciation Week for school counselors actually took place over vacation. So my staff came into gifts in their offices for them. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Melissa Fraley, Lynn Anderson, Taylor St. Jacques, Jamie Bryant, Heather Martineau, and Barb Slayton for their unending support and effort for our students, our guardians, and our staff. Tim and I really appreciate everything that our school counseling department does, and without them, our building would not function on a daily basis, right? We have some great upcoming events. We do have SATs coming this Wednesday. Our juniors have a field trip planned for Keene State College in April, and then we're excited because we have the Save a Life Tour program that we're planning for April 7th. There's an educational piece for students, and there's actually interactive like simulators the students can pretend to drive in. There's a lot of information about that online. We have our upcoming career day, and the seniors have planned a prom time and location. Mojalaki is going to host our kids for no cost for the facility. We're very excited about that. So there's more to come about that. And then I wanted the board to be aware that the seniors are trying to plan their senior trip. They are looking to go to an overnight at Jay Peak, which we've done that. We did that a few years ago before the pandemic hit. So they'll be coming and bringing in more information for you for the next board meeting. And last but not least, I do want the board to know that we are actually in planning right now for our annual Youth and Government Week. So we're looking forward to being able to do that, and my entire social studies department is helping with that too. Yep.
Go ahead, Deb.
Sherry, could you tell us a little bit more about the Amazon Future Engineer sponsorship?
Yep. So Ms. Marcotte applied for that. We actually had the Amazon Future Engineering Scholarship this past year, so she had applied for it. So this is for next year as well. It provides curriculum, free curriculum and resources for her classes. Yep.
Well, the good news is I did not have to suspend anyone today. Thank you, thank you, yeah, thank you. The bad news is, and over the last month, and by that I mean it's really only been 15 school days because we did have our February break. So over 15 days we had 40 major incidents and 84 minor incidents here on the campus of the high school. And I do want the board to know, just in the last 5 days alone, I had to suspend 10 children, and 6 of those were for 10 days. So to say that these students have been struggling to make good choices on my campus recently would be an understatement. And I do want the board to know that of those 40 major write-ups, 7 of them did involve drugs or vapes on our campus, and that's all within the last 10 days. 45 of the 85 minor incident write-ups were for cutting class or being in and out of assigned area, which is just a general sign of students not doing what is expected of them. Questions?
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Is Officer Hart still on campus?
No.
No.
Is there any way we can get him back on campus?
That would be at the agreement of the police department, because we're not contracted with the SRO. That is a position through the police department, and he was given to us when they were at full staff, and because of staffing issues at the police department, they've had to remove him and put him out onto the road.
All right. Is that something that maybe we could look into again?
Please?
Yes.
Yeah, we can have Dan reach out to Chief Goldstein.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Cecile.
Is it necessary to suspend them for 10 days?
Based on their infractions, so unequivocally, the answer is yes.
Doesn't that make it more willing to make the infraction so they can be out of school?
Well, based on the infractions, it wasn't safe to have them on campus. So it's not safe to have them on campus, the infractions that they were committing.
Are they less likely to graduate?
That's an impossible question to answer, but I would say no. So I want the board to know that OSS is my last line of resort. The last thing I ever want to do is remove a student from class, never mind the campus itself. But given the infractions, they left me no choice. A clear message has to be sent to the community that certain behaviors won't be tolerated.
With the 10-day suspension, are there provisions for them to keep up with their classwork
Yes.
if they so desire?
Yeah, so just so the board is aware, anytime a student is suspended for more than 1 day, I send an email requesting that the staff email both the student and the parent, letting them know what they can expect, their work, where it's posted, and what they can do while they're not in their class. So, and they receive those emails. So the idea is not to negatively impact their learning. They can still access it remotely, or if they need paper copies, they can come to campus and pick it up as well.
Go ahead, Tim.
Is there a requirement for the parent and student to have a meeting before they return to school?
Correct.
I just wanted to say thank you, Tim, for all that you're doing. I know that it's been a rough week for you, maybe 2 weeks, and I commend you on your decisions.
Thank you.
Anything further for Tim or for Carrie? All right, and Tim, again, like Christy said, I know that it's been very challenging for you, and very difficult over the last 2 weeks, with some of the decisions that have had to be made, but, sometimes the tough ones are it's not the easiest, but we also there's a reason why we have a disciplinary metrics in place, ones that this board has voted on and is accepted. So, you're only handing out what has been approved by the board. And I know it's never an easy decision, but we also have to stop and think that we have to think about the safety of our other students and our staff at the school. So, as Christy said, it's been difficult for you.
I want the board to know that I make sure that all students are aware that their safety and security is my #1 priority. So, no one is above that.
And just so this board knows, Superintendent Legallo is also in continuing conversations with Chief Goldstein. Okay, and if the Superintendent Legallo feels that there's a necessary or a threat being made to his school, whatever, there is no hesitation on the part of the police department to send officers down here to walk through our schools. All right, so don't be alarmed because you see a cruiser or little Johnny comes home and says there was a police officer walking in the hallways of the school. Okay, it's allowed.
It's encouraged.
The police department has been very, very supportive of our needs.
I have had an officer volunteer his time on his shift when he is free and available to come and just walk the halls, just to be present. So, and it was multiple visits last week from this officer, Officer Jerome. So I want the board to know that Officer Jerome has gone out of his way to really support the school and make his presence known. So thank you, Officer Jerome.
Thank you, Tim. Go ahead.
They have a dog that comes through the school, if you requested it.
So that's our conversation. Dan, did you want to take that question? I know that that's something that has come up.
With this large number, do you think it's warranted again?
Dan, you want to take that one? It's not quite as easy as.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yes. We're having.
We are considering all of our options at this point, Deb?
Go ahead, Cecile.
Other than the volunteer policeman, would that be a good idea to have someone that is in the schools just for the sake of being in the school and not for having it as an emergency type thing? So if the kids do see this policeman in the school, they'll say, well, he's just visiting or just looking, and it's not so alarming, I guess is the right word I'm looking for.
I would like to share that every time, like when we have Tim and I have a wonderful working relationship with the police department. We reach out and they come over. Whenever they come over, the last couple weeks, when they're there, they're like, we're gonna take a walk through while we're here too. We're like, absolutely. So there's been more presence. They're really good about that.
You gotta remember, the step what we need to do, let our administration decide when the police need to be here and when the police dogs need to come in or anything like that, okay? That is the administration's decision.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay.
All right?
Can I just say that I think that the police presence actually makes the students feel more safe. It doesn't make them feel unsafe. And I just know that from hearing what the kids are saying.
Thank you, Chrissy. All right, we're gonna move on to our facility director's report, so we'll let Dan, well, you're up, buddy.
Good evening. This is state inspection month for all the vehicles that we own. So far, so good. We had one inspected last week. I have 2 more being done this week. The winter equipment, there was no major repairs. Everything went well. The sanders and everything have been cleaned up. Hopefully we won't have to use them again. The plows are off. Ready to get them back on if we need to. With that being said, I have my grounds guy, Jerry. He has his power sander out. He's working feverishly trying to get the sand off all the walkways and off of the middle school's front lawns. We got some sand on there, so we're trying to, that's going to be on the this week and next week, so he's going to be outside. You'll see him like a pig pen in a cloud of dust. Working that sweep, but he loves it. So God bless him.
I did see some green today.
What's that?
I saw some green on the lawn.
Yes, it will be green again, Ken, I promise. I want to put a thank you out to the management in the Franklin School District for letting some of the kids go out and work with the Jerry. We have some kids that are, I don't know where they come from, the ISS or in the study halls, whether it doesn't matter to me as long as you get the okay from the uppers that they can go out and they can work with him, and they're a big help as far as shoveling the sand that he makes piles of. They helped with washing this floor on a daily basis with Travis. So, kudos, bringing the kids to let them help with us. That's a big thing. Not only do they feel that they're needed, but it shows them that they're part of the school and they're appreciating what they're seeing. So I like that. Other than that, we got to get the lawnmowers and stuff ready to go. We're going to repaint the parking lot lines and numbers. I was asked today if we're going to renumber the parking lot. Yes, the plans are, we are going to renumber all of the parking lot letters. We are going to reline the lines again this summer. I do have an opening still for the maintenance position, but between Jerry and I, we haven't slowed down a bit. We have 8 school dudes online right now, and we're trying to get all the school dudes that come in done within the 5-day period. So we're in good shape.
Kudos. Any questions for Dan? Thank you, Dan. All right, that's going to end our administrative reports. We'll move on to agenda item 11. If we have any light items, go ahead, Dan.
No late items.
No late items. That is done. Okay, go ahead.
What is the policy of passing the kids from grade to grade? If they're not meeting the requirements, is there any way of holding them back, or what is? Because I'm wondering if this special ed where they need extra help is maybe because they started school too early, or they're just having a difficult time and maybe they're not mature enough to be moved on.
Do you have policy on that, Cecilia?
Oh,
The policy, I believe, is that decision's made with the building administrator and the parents.
okay.
Any other late items we brought forward? All right, there is no public here, so we will not, thank you, everybody. There is no public participation, so agenda item 12 is gone by. Do we have any further non-publics here? We do not have any more. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion's been made, roll call, please. Motion's been made by Paul, second by Deb, so can I have roll call?
Sorry, who did you say, and Deb?
Yep.
Maureen Abe. Yes. Deb Brown.
Yes.
Delaney Carey.
Yes.
Cecile Cormier.
Yes.
Paul Doucette.
Yes.
Tim Dow.
Yes.